in the Goon whatever also was this guy, the Mitanni.
Yeah.
Who apparently is still a really central figure.
Yeah.
In all of this stuff, which is crazy to read.
He's had a weird... So, I mean, like, after that period of time, he had enough articles written about him that he kind of became a sort of mini celebrity, like Eve celebrity, to the extent that I think... well, I know that CCP, the developers of this game, made him kind of the official community point of contact. So he had, like, an official role within the sort of Eve... development community, and then like promptly lost to that role because he did something stupid at one of their events. Anyway, this guy is just sort of fluctuated between being like the coolest guy in the Eve sphere and the lamest guy, and right now he seems to be the lamest guy. Right now. So like from what I can understand, you know, the Imperium, which is the sort of new version of Goonfleet, is just about to be destroyed by this weird alliance of other fleets, but the way that it got to this point is the interesting aspect of it, where like, apparently, so like, the people are just pissed off that the Mitanni is... I guess he had like a failed Kickstarter to write a novel about Eve to promote the Imperium.
So what it was, there was like, CCP was backing a Kickstarter for someone to write a book about the history of this like incredible war that happened in EVE Online, but it turns out that the book was going to be published by the Mitanni Press, which was owned by this guy, the Mitanni, obviously, and a lot of EVE players were extremely mad about this because the obvious implication of this is like, oh, this book is going to be extremely sympathetic to like the victors of this war, and not to like...
Oh no, the history is written by the Mitanni in this case. I mean, he's
and so
like
completely, and so there was a huge backlash, and the losers of this war, one of the major losers of this war, were Test Alliance Please Ignore, which was a Reddit alliance that was, I think, basically disintegrated as a result of this conflict.
What a good name,
but it's,
though.
Yeah, I know. But its members are, you know, still like, there's like a diaspora of them still in the game, and I think the backlash to this Kickstarter caused the Kickstarter to fail and like set in motion all of these like feelings of betrayal and frustration that led to this. But
then on top of that, there's this website apparently called I Want ISK, which is ISK is the currency in EVE. And if you don't know, you can actually... well, I guess this is true of many MMOs at this point.
ISK
but
to dollars has a...
ISK to dollars is real because you can buy time cards to play EVE using ISK. And so people use time cards as a way to essentially like sell off their ISK and turn them into dollars, right? And that it was sort of the first online game where this was happening as just a matter of course. Like people were essentially funding their subscription fee by playing the game well, you know, and making a ton of money.
The thing with I Want ISK is that it has slot machines.
Yes, right? So I Want ISK is essentially just a gambling site, and apparently one of the guys that runs that, I guess like got in some kind of just dramatic tiff with a Goonfleet dude, and hired some people to go out and just like assassinate this guy
for an amount of like a crazy amount of money.
Which then I guess just spiraled into a full-on like proxy war. Like that they're now just, this gambling site is now just funding a war against the Mitanni
for I think the equivalent of like tens of thousands of dollars.
I'm really loving all of this stuff because Goonfleet started off as Goonfleet, then renamed themselves the Imperium, and now there's this weird rebel coalition fighting them. It has echoes of Star Wars, but it is the most capitalistic, bankrolled, insane...
Yeah, it's crazy.
Weird libertarian space nightmare version of Star Wars. It's really delicious.
When I was reading some of this stuff, I was just thinking about like how much the thing that is kind of amazing about this universe is that it is kind of self-regulating in the sense that like not the end of my
in the way that reality should be.
No, I mean like in a way that you could imagine reality would be, in the sense that like extreme power eventually is toppled because of like you know, disgruntled people and like coalitions and so on, except that to get to those points just always requires insane like loss of life and property and like faith, and like I mean it's just the most destructive possible way to actually regulate a society. But it technically works in like a fantasy world where it doesn't really matter if $20,000 worth of fake spaceships blow up, but like it actually made me think a lot about like extreme libertarianism and like, you know, it's the version
of Star Wars though that is conveniently cut out of Star Wars, where Princess Leia doesn't have to be like, well, we bought these battle cruisers because this one Hutt was really fucking pissed that the Empire squished his shit and he's paying for this ship. Anyway, we're gonna have to fucking give those guys a planet once we blow up the Death Star. Like, that is not mentioned in Star Wars, but it's gotta be a part of it, because
that's what they tried to mention in Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah, not
that's
quite,
true, yeah.
I sort of.
They should have just
Goon Fleet Trade Federation.
Copied all this shit from Eve.
Copied and pasted out of embedded Eve articles. Could have been the good Star Wars prequels. Yeah,
this would actually, I feel like that would be a totally, there would be a way to, I think, probably script this stuff in the style of a show like the Battlestar Galactica remake or something. Like, you could probably make a super cutthroat, because we have stuff like House of Cards now, which is not obviously on the, like, about economics in the same way, but it's like
nor is it in space.
No, nor is it in space. But I just mean it's a very like
not this season
cutthroat. No, but the show has been sort of a very cutthroat, like horse trading, like individual betrayals and alliances. Like, you could make something of like galactic scale again, like on the sort of budgetary realm of something like Battlestar Galactica, and I think it would probably work. Like, it would be a crazy, interesting thing to attempt.
I mean, most of the drama occurs outside of the game, you know, like on forums and through all these channels. So what you do is just take all of that, and that's your script for, like, all of the scenes in which it's just people in a weird room, discussing.
We had to buy the rights to all of these people's storylines. We had to pay them in ISK to make our Netflix original Eve teledrama.
Right, called I Want ISK.
Season 1, Episode 1, I Want ISK. Season 1, Episode 2,
they don't
Test
change,
Alliance,
they don't
please
change,
ignore.
They don't change any of the names. So the Clusterfuck Alliance, Test Alliance, please ignore. Clusterfuck Coalition.
Yeah, it's a weird fucking thing. This version, like, it feels like, Nick, to what you're saying about Eve, like, sort of destroying and rebuilding itself over and over again, it does that, but the cycle is not a pure loop, because the escalation does seem to happen every single time.
Oh yeah,
like this one.
All of these shared memories also, they accrete. Like, they all stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always the Russians. They may be under a different name. But they're always there, and they're always a presence. It's true.
The Imperium is this huge group, but Polygon wrote an article about this that we read before recording this, and the thing that I love is the people who are against the Imperium disparagingly refer to them as the goons still. We're like, oh, those goons, just goon. I don't want goons telling me what to do, fucking goons. And, like, they self-identified as Goonfleet a decade ago, and now they have this hilarious, slick, clearly sarcastic branding. But they're, like, and there's also, people remember the old names.
Did you see the photo of the weird space pope?
Yes.
Like, the weird, like, 45-year-old balding man.
There's a
with,
there's a cosplay, like, there's an Eve cosplayer who plays basically a religious deity who the Imperium has now sort of like.
He goes by the name, I think, Maximilian Singularity the Sixth, first of his name.
And the Imperium has decided that he is actually their religious deity.
Yeah.
So it's continuing to grow. But it does feel like Eve is this weird cordoned off space, like a window into an actual galaxy of existence that exists out there. But it is also just that it feels so strange that in the internet there is this weird sort of sphere that contains all of infinite space in it, and it is just the place that people go to pretend to do all this weird space shit. I don't know how to say what I'm saying exactly, but like, it's like if an entire